Yeah,
Good
it's all
morning,
good.
everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the Queen's Chamber Internship Connection Series, where we connect Queen's students with some of the fantastic businesses that we get to work with every day here in the Worldsboro. Today, we are super excited to be joined by the team at Wendt Partners. They are a B2B growth consulting firm here in New York City, and we're just super excited to have them with us today. The first person I'd like to introduce to you is the founder and president, Doug Wendt. Doug, take it away.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be here, and I'm joining you from Rego Park in the heart of Queens. This is my home office, and actually our headquarters is in Forest Hills. So we are Queens, born and bred through and through. I'm really excited to be here. We've got a lot of things that I think we're going to talk about and that are really going to help. If you're thinking about, how do I, let's say, get into marketing or digital communications, or what are some of the skills that I can develop, and how do I show that to potential employers? We've got lots of exciting and easy and approachable answers. So I'm looking forward to our conversation, Neil.
Fantastic. And also joining us from Wendt Partners is Emma Downs. Emma, very excited to have you. Emma, can you tell us a little bit about your role at Wendt Partners?
Sure. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Emma, and I'm coming to you from my dorm room at DeSales University in Pennsylvania. So I've been with Wendt Partners for about a year now, and I'm sort of the resident intern role here. I'm working under the Digital Business Fellowship, which is a program that Wendt Partners has for emerging digital marketers and people who are interested in the field. So I've worked in various capacities with Wendt Partners over the past year, and I'm currently working mostly as a writer on the content team for our clients. So I'm happy to share everything that I've learned so far.
All right, that sounds so great. And again, Emma, thank you so much for being here. Doug, just to jump in, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you guys do at Wendt Partners?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's interesting. I've had this firm for 15 years. But before that, I was also a digital marketer. And before that, I was a pen and paper marketer. So I started my career before digital was a thing. And we were really excited if we could do something with the desktop printer. It's hard to imagine, but one of my first jobs, I had to take these gigantic diskettes physically from our office, drive them across down to a service bureau, which is a thing that doesn't even exist anymore. It's like talking about the company that makes the equipment for the horse and buggy. And the service bureau had to use their super expensive, complex computer to then make physical printing plates, okay? Because printing presses used to use plates that had to be etched with a special device. I mean, it's just unbelievable to have seen all this change. When Wendt Partners was started, it was the same year that Facebook was launched. So social media wasn't even something I knew about when I first established this company. That's how much, again, things have changed in honestly a relatively short period of time. So what is Wendt Partners? So a lot of us think about marketing, right? And we think about the different aspects of what's involved in doing marketing, creating marketing, okay? And hold on, let me just fix this here. I realize there's something that is sitting on top of my camera. There we go. It's like the shadow was coming down. So here's what I want to propose for the students joining us today. Think about marketing in the context of other disciplines that connect with marketing. So if you're studying business, or if you're studying economics, or even if you're studying writing or the liberal arts, I mean, my undergraduate degree is in philosophy, true story, okay? And the key is to understand how these pieces connect. So for example, why do we do marketing? We do marketing to drive people to make purchasing decisions, right? So in a business to consumer company, something that we call B2C, right? That's like a retail business or a restaurant, or anything where you are an individual buying products for your own personal use, right? In business to consumer, typically the marketing can actually get the person to make the purchase decision, right? You see a product on Amazon, you go to a store and you select it. And so that's basically the relationship between the company and the customer is entirely driven, or almost entirely driven, by marketing. Now, in the business to business world, which is where we focus our efforts, there's another piece to that equation. And that is in business to business, if I'm buying, let's say, a piece of software for my company, or I've been asked to select the new computer systems for a field office that we're opening, anything like that, now all of a sudden, that kind of decision typically involves a sales process. And so there's a salesperson who's hired and trained and responsible for walking through the features and benefits of the product, why you should choose my brand versus someone else's, and all of those things. So marketing's job in the business to business world is to help those salespeople communicate in a compelling way to the actual customer. And the other job of marketing is to help generate leads. We call them leads, sales leads that the salespeople can then follow up on to create opportunities that lead to a customer. Okay, so the role of marketing varies depending on the kind of industry you're in, and it also depends on the nature of the company. And these are things that as a student, there's so much of it right in front of us, but we don't necessarily see it, right? So I always encourage students, like, take something that's right in front of you. Okay, so for example, I'm sitting in an apartment. Okay, the apartment was renovated a couple of years ago. What did it take to renovate that apartment? We needed painters, we needed an architect, a construction contractor, somebody had to provide the fixtures that went in the kitchen. We needed a plumber to redo all the water and sewer, all those different people. So if you were tasked, if somebody said to you, hey, Frank, sit down and put together the list and find a person or a company or a supplier for all these things. You know, that's what a lot of people do all day. Their job is to make those decisions or make those recommendations. So the job of marketing is to help educate that individual so they know how to choose. Okay, so there's a lot of education in marketing, which I think is really neat. There's a lot of entertainment in marketing because we want to keep people's attention, and we all know how hard that is today. It's always been hard, but now it's much harder. So there are a lot of different aspects to marketing, and the neat thing is that marketing is all around us, right? I chose actually to live in this apartment building in part because of the good job they did marketing. Okay, and in fact, in that example, there were two aspects to their marketing. One was direct to me. So that was the business to consumer side. So I saw the website for this building, and they had nice pictures and good testimonials and a list of features and, you know, all of those things that encouraged me to consider it. But in addition, I was actually working with a broker because that's what we do in New York. You know, in New York, the only thing more important than innovation is tradition. So, you know, we will innovate and then we will do things the same way we've done them for 150 years because that's us. We're New Yorkers. You know, so on the New Yorker side of that equation, okay, I was working with a broker. The broker is only going to show me properties that they think are worth their time. Now, there's properties that I'm likely to say yes to. So that means that the company that was marketing this property also had to reach out to brokers and say, here's why you should market this building. The building's called the Drake. Here's why you should market the Drake. You know, we have amenities that are hard to find in this neighborhood. Our location is something that you can promote because we're only a few blocks from the subway. There are good schools in the neighborhood and there are playgrounds within walking distance. Things that the broker might not know because they wouldn't necessarily come to this particular corner of the neighborhood unless they had a prospective client. So in marketing, the big thing to think about is how do we bring two different skills together. One is we need to be good communicators. We need to be good writers. And as a student, if there's one thing I'd encourage everyone to do, practice writing skills. I cannot emphasize that enough. That is the absolute biggest differentiator. I don't care what you're writing. Okay, notes for a class, term papers, so you know, posts for your friends on social media, TikTok videos. I don't care what it is. Practice your writing skills, because the first way we're going to see you is in the cover letter, or even if we're not going, you know, the traditional route and we're communicating, you know, for example, LinkedIn now has a video interview tool. I can say, hey, if you apply, please, you know, do a few short snippets to answer these questions. You're still going to want to practice your writing skills so you can practice organizing your thoughts and communicating them effectively. Writing is how it teaches you how to think. Okay, so that's the first piece. We got to be able to communicate. And the second side is we have to understand the customer. And this is where actually it's a little trickier than it seems. I'll give a quick example, and then we'll talk, we'll switch tracks to talk about Emma's experience and what it means to be a young person entering this field and things like that. So one of the things that I have conversations about all the time, and again, we focus primarily on business to business companies, right? So in business to business, you tend to have maybe an older decision maker, more traditionally minded. And so customers all the time say, well, why would we spend time, marketing on Facebook? Okay, because Facebook is where people go to see pictures of their grandkids or to remind that they're Gen Z children that they're not hip, right? So why would I go and advertise my business to business services or products or market them on Facebook? So here's the interesting thing. Yes, people go there to post and share pictures of their grandkids. Okay, my generation, right? Gen Xers who never translated to Instagram. Okay, however, what matters is people are there. Okay, and once your eyeballs are in that place, there's an opportunity to engage you. So I get served ads on Facebook while I'm busy posting pictures. I don't have any grad kids yet, but busy posting pictures of my 21-year-old daughter who lives in Brooklyn, or of the dog, or, of a beautiful sunrise in Queens. I'm busy doing that. And I get an ad fed to me for something relating to my company. Okay. Logically, we would think, well, why would you do that? Like, why would you serve an ad at that moment? Can I tell you? The data shows that the click-through rates on those are actually higher than the same ad done on LinkedIn. And the reason is, once your mind's engaged, it's engaged. And if we can catch you when your mind is engaged and your curiosity is open, we're gonna have an opportunity to impact you with a message that resonates. So we have to understand our audience, and we have to learn how to communicate. And if you can bring those two skills together with passion, you can be an outstanding marketer and build an amazing career in this field.
That's amazing to hear. So Doug, real quick, I have to ask you, how does a guy with a degree in philosophy get into marketing and developing a B2B growth consulting firm?
Oh, that's a great question. So my first job out of college, I was hired by an academic publishing company, actually in the Philadelphia area, closer to where Emma is. And my job was to edit content. So it was all about reading and writing, right? Which is a logical extension of a philosophy degree. You assume, okay, well, you may not have a particular business skill, but definitely you probably spend a lot of time reading and writing pretty sophisticated material. Hopefully you can think logically. So that's the advantage, right? If you can market the advantage of the liberal arts education, the advantage is the reading, writing, and thinking skills. Okay, but then obviously the rubber needs to hit the road. So I was doing editing of books and media, and there was a discussion going on in the office. And again, this is a pretty academic company. They're not, selling comic books. They're selling, a professor's research tome on a particular subtopic of sociology. But somebody still needs to buy that, right? We're not here to just publish books no one reads. So the discussion was developing around the fact that, we're really good at publishing great authors and great books, but we're not very, very good at getting people to buy them. And the physical evidence of that was that in the basement of our building, the company's offices were just boxes and boxes of books. Because what would happen is we would place an order for, 20,000 books for the first run. They would all be delivered to our loading dock. They'd be put downstairs, and then we would ship them out. Okay. And we didn't have really good relationships with bookstores. And this was, again, pre-internet or very, very early internet. And we weren't doing any advertising or marketing. And the question was like, what are we going to do? Like, we can't keep doing it this way. And I said, well, let me take a stab at it. So it was an accident. I ended up in marketing as a pure accident, and said, look, if we can do a good job writing and publishing attractive books, why don't we tell the story of why you should buy them? So we started doing new advertising. We started doing direct mail. For those who aren't sure what that is, it's where you take a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, and bring it to, I'm having a little bit of fun, but yeah, we did direct mail, postcard mailings. We started to make a list of booksellers who might be a good fit and reach out to them. Again, we just had to figure out to start doing things and figure out what would work. So that's how it happened.
Wow, a happy accident turns into an entirely different career. Pretty cool.
It is. It's a really neat. I'm very, very fortunate. Not only that I had the opportunity to work there, but they said yes, that they were like, okay, you want to take a stab at this? Go for it.
Awesome. So Doug, can you just tell us a little bit about what the, day-to-day operations at Wendt Partners is like? And, Emma, what's your day-to-day like as well?
Sure. I'll just frame it up and then I'm going to hand that to Emma. So I think it's important to think about the fact that there are really two kinds of roles in a company like this. Okay. And we call ourselves a growth consultancy. We do marketing. We also do sales training and sales process. We do brand strategy. There are a lot of different pieces involved in growing a company. And our job is to help clients with all those pieces. The two kinds of roles that can really be a good career path driver. One is, hey, I like to talk to people. I like to stay on top of tasks and make things happen. That's a good aptitude for someone who would be a project manager or an account manager. So our client account managers spend their day coordinating with clients. Hey, we sent this article for your review. Please give us any edits by Tuesday. And then they might host a meeting. Most of our clients meet with us typically twice a month to go over the things that we're doing for their marketing and sales efforts. So that's the account manager. The account manager is the quarterback. Their job is to make sure that every play is flawless. And then there's pretty much everybody else, which for the most part are involved in different specific aspects of delivering for that client. So when you're in the marketing field, typically in order to deliver services from the agency side, there might be someone whose specialty is content and writing. That's what Emma loves to focus on. And there is a designer, okay, who can design, graphics. There's probably a web developer involved. There might be someone who does search engine optimization or SEO. There might be someone else who focuses on digital advertising, okay? And another person who focuses on the strategy for the client's company. How do we differentiate? So it takes a pretty significant team of these specialties collected and then serving under the direction of the account manager in order for the client's program to move forward. And there are two sides to the profession. There's client side and agency side. So client side is you're either doing all that in a team in-house, or you're coordinating with a company like us to make it happen on behalf of your company. And then agency side is us. The big difference in those cultures is when you're client side, you get to focus on one company, which is great. On the agency side, you have the intensity, but also the fun of working for lots of different companies. So it just depends on your personality and style. So with that, let me hand it over to Emma to talk a little bit about her experience and what some of her day-to-day looks like.
Great. Thank you for framing that up, Doug. Very nice. And on my end, I've always worked on the deliverable side, like Doug had mentioned, not really coordinating with the clients themselves, but delivering what they need to succeed. As the project managers have said, or in their conversations with the clients, what do they need? So I started out working on the Wendt Partners website, so in a more advertising based role, but quickly sort of transitioned into this writing role. And I work with so many different clients, and the deliverables they range from blog articles to internal documents that we write in order to keep track of our goals with the client. With that client, I write my idea of what would be a good path to follow for content for each client. So topics that we can focus on for blog articles and other written content, sometimes social media posts. And in doing so, I get to learn about all of these different clients from different fields. And it's been a great opportunity to practice my own listening and communication skills, because, as an English major, that's sort of my MO. Like that's, the goal of the major. But I didn't, even going into it, I think I underestimated how important it is to know how to synthesize information and communicate with a bunch of different kinds of people. And I think that my training as an English major helped me in this role with Wendt Partners, but certainly the practice that I've gained from working with Wendt has helped my general skills as a whole. So that's sort of my role at the moment, but yeah.
And I think one of the key things here is that taking this approach allows you to find the things that are most enjoyable for you and that you're really good at. Emma's had a chance to at least put a toe in lots of different areas of the organization. And one of the things I know we want to talk about is like, how do I start exploring this career path and even developing credentials for it? And one of the reasons we call our program the Digital Business Fellowship is we're trying to do a couple of different things. One is that, how do I learn, that education and learning component. Another is the work experience component. And then the third is exploring and finding your spot. And if you can do those three things, whether through a program like ours or in your own efforts, then you're going to be able to sit down with a potential employer and say, I've explored these different elements. I found that I really had a skill in this. I was able to contribute in this way. And I have these certifications or credentials that help demonstrate that. Like, it gives you focus, right? Through a process of exploration. And I think that's really important for all of us.
Definitely. So one question we always like to ask on this program is, what excites you the most about the work that you get to do every day?
Ooh, I think Emma should go first on that one.
Sure. Like I mentioned, it's really amazing seeing how all of our clients operate, and to be able to get that insider knowledge on what makes them tick. And so in writing, no matter what it is, I get to learn all of the essentials of their field, and then what is important for their clients and their customer base to know about what they do, and then what is more internal, like what are the processes that they go through that maybe their customers aren't even aware of, or what are the challenges that they are facing that on the customer side they wouldn't make that known, but it helps me to better understand, what do they need from Wendt Partners, what can we help with in internal operations. And it's very interesting, and it's nice to know that everything that I'm doing has a direct impact on them and on their on everything that they do. That's what excites me the most, I think.
Emma, take a moment and if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about the different kinds of companies that
Sure.
you've had exposure to through your work at Wendt.
Okay, so the very first client that I wrote for was Best Type, which is based in Soho, in New York, and they are a printing company. So they do prints for different clients depending on their needs. Like I think they do fashion, they large scale prints, and then also cards, things like that. So that was really interesting. I had already been sort of interested in printmaking myself. So as a first venture into that was great. But then I've also written for construction firms. There's most recently.
Thinking of Willis, or which one, or was it ES&S?
Both, and companies like Delmhorst as well, where they're doing moisture meters, things like that. I would never have thought.
Neil's like, what's a moisture meter? Right?
Oh, it sounds cool.
That is cool.
Definitely. Yeah, I had to do a lot of background research myself, but that was so cool to see, all of the different aspects of like construction and how do buildings even come to be in different areas, and like urban settings versus like other ones. And I'm also, my most recent task, the one that I have upcoming is actually Wendt Partners. So just organization for us.
I'm gonna sit over to the side while she talks about how that's going.
Oh yeah,
It's going great. I have no doubt. The team's been doing awesome work.
um, but yeah, there's so many. There's Burke International does wiping products for their clients, which are mostly distributors. So there's a like learning about what a client base can be beyond individuals. You know, sometimes they're marketing towards other companies who would then distribute the products to the individuals or to the restaurant, for example. So that's a few of them, but there's a long list.
And just think about that, you know, Neil, this is one of the reasons why I would encourage students to get some agency experience, because, you know, Emma's been working with us for about a year, but she's had the opportunity to sample and learn aspects of business from, you know, 10, 15 different companies in all different industries. And that really helps widen your horizons. As an early stage employee, you know, a key thing that people always ask is, you know, do you understand my business, right? Do you understand my industry? And if you've worked with an agency, chances are you'll have a ability to say yes. Or I worked with a company that was similar to that. It really helps, you know, make you comfortable telling your story, you know, in a way that's compelling and that you can give examples to. I mean, Emma was just talking about, you know, we talked about what, a printing company, a company that makes industrial wipes, a company that does construction estimating, a civil engineering firm. The other thing is now, you know, our clients are all over, you know, so we have clients in New York, New Jersey. In fact, the Delmhorst, the moisture meter company is in New Jersey, Best Types here in the city. But then the other two clients that she referenced, or three, one's in Philadelphia area, that's Burke. One is down in Florida and one is in Missouri, you know? So I think it's a lot of fun. I get the same excitement out of it, and I've been doing it for a little bit longer, but I still have the same excitement about it that Emma has, exploring and learning about each of these different people and their companies and what they're trying to do to grow their business.
Wow, that is so exciting that you guys have clients all around the country and in all walks of life. So I do know that you guys are looking to grow and have a lot of different opportunities at Wendt Partners. Can you tell me a little bit about the roles that you have, and you know, how can a student get in touch with you guys to learn more?
Absolutely. And as part of that, I want to mention another piece of this puzzle. When I was graduating, the big focus was on the knowledge and skills themselves, which of course is still important. As I mentioned at the beginning, the key is, can you write, can you speak, can you communicate effectively? Never hurts to practice that more. But the other side that wasn't as big an issue back in my day was technology. So in order for us to do all of this work, we need the right technology tools. And there's a product that we use called HubSpot, which is an example of this technology. It helps us with communication, marketing automation. So one thing I encourage students to do is research and learn about the different technologies. You know, we actually keep a graphic that we try to update of our tech stack, all the different tools that we use. It needs an update because we've added so much more in the last 3 months, and I already had about 40 products on there. Okay. It takes an enormous amount of technology to run a company. And if you can speak to even a few of those, you know, as a young graduate or as a student preparing for an internship, it's enormously helpful. In addition, in the case of HubSpot and some of these other products, there's a lot of free training that's available. And so you can actually develop that skill set and put a certification or two on your LinkedIn. By the way, don't neglect LinkedIn. I know it feels like it's for grandparents, but it's where we go to learn not only about your background, but about your writing skills, about how comfortable you are communicating your strengths. So don't be shy, build that out. Okay. That first impression is critical. But, you know, I was looking up, you can go to a website, which is academy.hubspot.com, and there are 30 free certifications and 100 courses, again, totally free, that will teach you both skills and the technologies. And so that individual who comes and says, I've done that on my own, I've developed these skills, I've passed these certifications, that person has a leg up right from the start.
That's good to know.
And then I know you asked about like us, which I didn't actually address. I apologize.
All
So we're always looking for talent. And in fact, typically we announce it on LinkedIn before we actually get it on our website. So our website may actually not be the first place to look, but checking us out on LinkedIn, I mean, you can always go to our website. It's wendtpartners.com, and that's WENDT partners.com. And we've actually got our Made in Queens badge on there. We're very proud of our city and of our roots here. And you know, check us out on LinkedIn, see what opportunities we have. And even if we don't have opportunities that you're aware of, you can always reach out and say, I wanted to touch base and see, you know, what might be coming up, because our needs change all the time. The other thing is we do have the program that Emma's participating in, and that we have another person who's going to be starting in February joining us in, and that is called the Digital Business Fellowship. So the idea there is it's a hybrid. So you work on client projects, you're paid for that time, okay? And that side of it's a paid internship. And then the other side of it is study on your own, largely to learn these technologies and take the certifications. Might involve Google certifications, it might involve some other products and resources, and to basically skill up or level up your skill set. You know, and so there's that aspect which is on your own time, but is set in a curriculum or in a series of stages, so that you're making progress learning and you're getting paid for working. And the idea is to bring those two things together and give you a chance to really build your platform for your career and explore, as Emma has, you know, the different roles in the company and the different aspects of the profession. And of course, as she so eloquently shared, the amazing diversity of clients you can work with.
That program sounds like an excellent opportunity, and I hope we can share more information about that across our social media channels at some time.
Absolutely, would
Awesome.
love to.
You know, you mentioned that, you know, you're looking for some specific traits in, you know, people that are looking to work with you guys, you know, strong writing skills, people with the, you know, appropriate tech skills. What else are you guys looking for in a candidate to come be a part of Wendt Partners?
Enthusiasm. I would say that's the sort of the third piece of the equation. If you are a solid communicator, you know, and you are enthusiastic and you've done some work and some study in order to benchmark yourself and get your skills going, you're a very, very strong candidate. Okay. And let's be clear, this is a competitive world. You know, yes, the market is, you know, employee friendly. Obviously, we all know that, which is great. But what that means is you want to stand out just as much or more, because employers are asking themselves, like, how much am I going to stretch? You know, so if you want to demand more, if you want to ask for more, if you want to have that opportunity, it's still incumbent upon you to demonstrate what you bring to the table. And I think the other important thing to know, sort of this whole great resignation period, is what's happened in the COVID world is that the nature of the talent company relationship has changed. So yes, it is an employee's market, but we also get applicants from everywhere. And I don't just mean in New York or in the US, I mean everywhere. Okay. And we've actually converted how we employ people so that we can employ people anywhere in the world. We have team members, employees in Canada, Bangladesh, India, the US, and we're in 9 different states of the US, Colombia, El Salvador, Poland, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. So yeah, it's a global world, and you know, talent is where you look for it. So do all you can to stand out, focusing on those 3 things. And honestly, you know, being a Queens person is a huge story. I mean, it's a passion we all share, Neil, right? We believe, like you, when you open it up, the heart of the world's borough. Darn right. You know, there's no place on earth like Queens.
No, there definitely is not. And our president and CEO, Tom Gretsch, will say that all day, every day.
Absolutely. And he's correct 100%.
So I'm starting to get a couple of questions here in the
Yeah.
chat. And the first question is actually for Emma. They ask Emma, I'm a young person looking for a job. What advice do you have for people who are in college looking for opportunities right now?
That is a great question. And that's something that I've been learning over the course of the past 2 years. Sort of what skills do I need to hone in on to make myself marketable to potential employers. So, when you go into school, you sort of have a general idea. You should be a good communicator. You should be like a hard worker, have good time management skills, very like obviously fundamental, important things, but sort of vague. So I think if you're able to communicate with a lot of different kinds of people, if you're able to kind of put aside your personal opinions on not like very controversial topics or anything like that, but really just like more so if you can make anybody feel comfortable talking to you, that is essential. If you can, have a productive conversation with any sort of person, that is incredibly helpful. And we had mentioned this, but writing skills are so important. So I would absolutely, no matter what you're doing, and no matter what area of study you're in, just find ways to practice putting together what you know about a topic and then learning from outside sources and creating something from your own imagination that can help others. And that will be a skill that a lot of people are looking for and would really appreciate.
Awesome. That is some great advice, Emma, which does lead me to my next question. And this one is for Doug. It's, you've mentioned writing skills and getting those improved, that being really important. But other than that, what's the best career advice you've ever been given?
I would say the best career advice I've ever been given is, for me, on my side of the equation, I need to focus on what it is that I want to accomplish in my career, where my interests are, absolutely. But when I talk with the employer or with someone else, I need to ask what they need. How can I help them? So sometimes people forget that, and they're sort of taking their internal monologue and externalizing it to the potential employer. And you may not even realize you're doing it. I know I didn't when I started my career. I had to have a couple of people point it out to me. You have to understand that the person you're talking to is a person with headaches and worries and deadlines and, all of those things, those burdens. And the only reason that they're talking to you is they're looking for people who can help them share those burdens, and in doing so, reduce them, right? So you have to be willing to say, how can I help you? How can my skills help you? Turn your focus to the other, and you'll have the kind of interview that goes beyond the sort of stilted experience. Once that other person knows you're listening and you're looking for how you can help, it changes everything. And I'm going to go back to one thing Emma said earlier that I think is very easy to miss. Don't miss a deadline. Don't miss a deadline. Okay. There's the old adage about Thomas Edison, and I love this anecdote. So the story is that somebody asked Thomas Edison, why don't most people recognize success? And he said, most people don't recognize success because it puts on overalls and looks suspiciously like hard work. So that is really, really true. If someone feels that you're a person of your word, that you can be counted on, okay, they're going to give you opportunities you would never have had otherwise.
Even more good advice. And Doug, I don't know if you're an inspirational speaker or not, but we might have to find you some gigs in Queens.
All right. I'm in. We'll do it together. We'll share the stage and tell the Queen story, my friend.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So just to kind of jump back into the work that you guys are doing at Wendt Partners, you know, I know you're looking for some roles to get filled soon. You have the fellowship. Are you guys hiring, you know, year round? Do you have opportunities coming up in the summer for students or in the fall, or how would that typically work for students?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
We've been so busy that it's not quite as organized I would like. We don't have an internship coordinator. That will probably be a role that we fill, you know, in the company in the future, because we want to consistently bring in new minds, new perspectives, new talent. That's really important to us. But, you know, if what we've talked about is of interest to you, just reach out. You know, you can find us on LinkedIn. You know, you can find Wendt Partners, or you can come to my personal LinkedIn. And the other thing is, I think this is really important. Don't assume that just because somebody doesn't get back to you, that there's not interest. And I know that sounds a little weird. Let me clarify. We try to get back to everybody on everything, but when you're on our side of the table, we're getting hundreds of emails. And I don't just mean from applicants, I just mean in general. It could be anything, right? It could be, you know, the trash pickup was moved from Tuesday to Wednesday, everything, but this is all coming at you. And I always tell people, if you're really interested in communicating with us, you know, just understand it may take a little time, and don't hesitate to send a second note. Don't hesitate to give us a call. Like, we don't mind. Okay. So reach out if what we've shared is of interest to you, and ask.
Good to know. All right. Before we wrap things up here, Doug, Emma, anything else you'd like to share with our viewers about Wendt Partners or your careers, or anything else?
I would ask Emma, like, what's the number one, you know, takeaway that you've had so far from your experience with us? Like something that maybe you didn't even realize or think about when you started, that now, you know, you're kind of in a different place as a result of it.
So my biggest takeaway, I think, has been that everybody, you know, everything is always a work in progress, and there are deadlines, hard and fast deadlines to follow to keep things organized, but nothing is ever truly finished, and you can always work to get better in different areas. And, you know, you'll improve in ways that you didn't anticipate. You know, I'm a writer, but a lot of that also has to do with the technology side, you know, managing the different platforms that Wendt Partners uses to communicate. So learning those took a little bit of time, and just be patient with yourself and don't be afraid to ask questions. Always, that's okay. Like, you don't need to know everything right off the bat, especially if you're the newbie. People are willing to help and happy that you asked and that you're curious and want to get better. So you know, patience, you know, just consistent improvement, consistent working on your skills, and then asking questions when you need to.
And I could just say, I just want to second what Emma said on the whole asking questions. You know, particularly in the virtual world, but even in the physical world, it's easy to sit at a desk or at a cubicle and not ask for help. And, you know, a critical skill for developing your career is asking people for suggestions, advice, insights, ideas. How did you solve this? Utilize the support of the team, and you will learn much faster, and you'll turn around and be able to contribute even more to the team.
Perfect.
And that's absolutely true with Emma, by the way. I just want to clarify that, or reiterate that. Emma has been a contributor in so many ways I've lost count. And that's because she communicates, she engages, and we know that whenever we give her an assignment, she's really excited to dig in and learn about it and give it the absolute best effort she can.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been fantastic to get to meet you both, to get to learn more about the incredible work that you do at Wendt Partners. And we look forward to, you know, doing more events with you guys and working with you more in the future through the chamber.
You got it. And, you know, there's no better chamber than the Queen's Chamber here in the world's borough. Absolutely, Neil. We love you guys. We're honored to be a part of the chamber community.
Well, we greatly appreciate that. And we also really appreciate all of our people that attended, whether it was via Zoom or on Facebook. If you want more information, check out Wendt Partners on LinkedIn and at their website as well. Other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a great day and be on the lookout for more Queen's Chamber Internship Connection webinars like this in the future. Take care, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Emma. Bye-bye.